Hello and welcome to Candidates on the Clock, hosted by the Newton Chamber of Commerce, sponsored by Dual Deco Search Engine Marketing and Onyx Media Services. I'm Lanier Sims, and today we're joined by Stephanie Lindsey, who's running for District 3 Commissioner of Newton County. Could you please introduce yourself, outlining your background and your experience? Additionally, could you share your platform for County Commissioner and explain why you're running for office?
Okay. Well, my name is Stephanie Lindsey. I have been a resident of District 3 since 1998 when I moved with my husband and at the time our one child, our son, on Fairview Road in Magnolia Manor. I'm an attorney. I've been an attorney for the last 23 years. This year will be 24 years in November. I have a master's in public administration with a concentration in local government. And more so than anything, I have handled very complex cases throughout my career. I'm a litigation attorney, so I practice law in the courtroom. And I love my community. And you ask, why am I running for this position? And to be very honest with you, I didn't want to initially run for this position. I wanted someone else to run. But when I realized that no one would step up, and realizing that something really had to be done, I decided that I was going to do it. I think I'm qualified because not only do I care about our community, I know our community, want the best for our community. My vision is action. Simply action. My platform is action. My slogan is action. My mantra is action. And there are a lot of things that I feel like we need to have done through our Board of Commissioners. And I feel like I have the experience, the education, the motivation, the drive, and the tenacity, and most of all, the willing to collaborate with others to get the things done. So that's why I'm running for District 3 Commissioner.
Thank you. So we're going to jump into a few questions. Okay. Question number one, what plans do you have for improving roads, bridges, and other infrastructure within Newton County?
Okay. Well, the first thing, I think that it starts with motivating, encouraging, as well as collaborating with the entities that are actually in place, and that would be Chester. Chester is over our Transportation and Roads Division, and I think that when you have a commissioner that supports the individuals that are actually at the forefront doing everything, that's big. The plans that I have are to make sure that District 3 has the necessities that it needs. There's no dispute that the transportation in District 3 is kind of rough right about now. I came in from Salem Road, and Salem Road is an experience. And then we have a lot of individuals in our community that are complaining about the Jack Neely turnaround that's going on. I think that instead of complaining all the time, it would be better if we work together, communicate with the individuals that are actually at the forefront making the decisions about what's going on, and then make sure that we have a good dialogue with the individuals in the community so that they can understand what's coming on the forefront. I think that that's one thing that I would like to do. There's no doubt about it. We're going to have construction. We're going to have bridges that are going to be built. We're going to have roads that are going to be built. There's no doubt about that. That's going to happen. And everybody needs to know that's going to happen. But the bottom line is, I think that communicating with the individuals that are going to experience the things that are going on is key. As relates to infrastructure, we really need to assess, and that's my thing. You can't just jump in there when you're running for office and just say all the things that people want to hear. You have to be thoughtful about it. You have to make sense about it. And it would be a disservice to the community for me to sit here and tell you what I'm going to do with infrastructure when I haven't had a seat at the table to find out what it is that we need all together for the community. So my first move would be assessing, along with our other Board of Commissioners, along with the stakeholders that are involved in making these decisions as it relates to roads, bridges, and infrastructure, and then determine what our plans would be to improve roads, bridges, and infrastructure.
Thank you. Our next question, In light of recent disagreement among commissioners and the necessity for a more unified approach, how do you intend to foster better relationships, find common ground, and promote unity to ensure a more effective governing body?
I wouldn't even say it's disagreements. It's beyond disagreements that we're experiencing, and I think that everybody can agree with that. We're beyond disagreements in the community and on the Board of Commissioners. We're at the point right now where we have all-out discord, chaos. And I think that the first thing that needs to be put in place, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, is a level of respect. My parents raised me to be respectful of everyone. People hear the story all the time about my dad being in law enforcement. And my dad used to always tell us that you have to have respect for others, even when they do things that in your mind you believe that they don't deserve the respect. You have to have that respect. But I acknowledge that after being disrespected and handled a certain way for a period of time, it's hard to be respectful to someone who is so disrespectful. I think that the first thing that we do, and what I would like to do, is clean slate. That's one of the reasons I'm running. I believe that from 2017 through 2021, there was a lot of things that happened that were great for our community. And when I say 2021, I really mean 2020. That would be December 31st of 2020. A lot of things were going great with our community. I have heard people say that this was the first time during that period of time that the board was cohesive. The board worked together. The board got a lot of things accomplished. And I sat and watched how we had blacks, whites, Democrats, and Republicans that were able to work together for the common good of the people and put the people first. And then in 2021, things changed. By 2022, it was bad. By 2023, it was unbearable to even watch. So I think the first thing that we do is when you have a change on that board and the dynamics on that board changes, where the individuals that have caused discord are no longer there, we can do some amazing things. We could be so much more effective. We can accomplish the things that individuals have wanted. Diversity on that board is key. And I believe that once that board changes and the dynamics of that board changes, you will see some unbelievable results, especially with the different experiences that are in the forefront in terms of the candidates that are running. That's why I'm asking you for your support to put me on that board so we can get things done effectively.
Thank you. Our next question it's a two-part question. As new industries bring a demand for housing, what are your views on zoning regulations, and how will you balance the need for housing with considerations such as density, location, building standards, aiming for sustainable growth while maintaining Newton County's character?
Okay, so for District 3 and District 2, that's a hot button topic right now, the zoning. I think that the first thing that needs to happen is you need to have a board member from your district that is motivated to address the zoning regulations the right way. And the right way is to go ahead and address the overlays that cover District 3 and the overlays that cover District 2 so that we can do an assessment on the level of density that has been, and I hate to use this word, but it's true, plaguing that community. And so that's the start. We have to address that because District 3, I would say, has had the most density issues. District 2 follows second. But the fact of the matter is we have to have housing. We're attracting industry now. We're attracting Facebook. We're attracting Rivian. We're attracting all these big companies, and we want people to work in our community, but we also want them to live in our community. So I think that we have to collectively, District 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Really focus on smart growth. Really focus on what areas of town that we may need to consider as areas to build at the right level of density, because I don't believe that you take, because District 3 was treated a certain way or District 2 is treated a certain way, then you do the same for District 1 or District 5. I don't think that that's the right solution. I think that we collectively as a board understand that housing is a need in our community. Housing that's going to attract the executives that are going to be working at Facebook, or the executives that are going to be working at Rivian, or any other industry that's coming to our community. We want to attract those individuals and we want them to live here. And collectively, we have to be on one accord. We have to understand, like in the court system, when we negotiate cases, we say, we got to come to a happy meeting where you're not going to be happy and you're not going to be happy. But at the same time, we can all be fine with the decision that we made together. And so I think that that's what we need to do. Focus on the overlays in the districts that are plagued with high density, come together to decide what areas of town that we need to have the growth transition to for the purpose of attracting individuals that are coming in to work. Building standards, that's a given. I mean, we all know that we have to make sure that we adhere to federal guidelines as well as state guidelines on building standards, and make sure we have the proper people in place to ensure that buildings that are built to standard. And that's just my view on it.
Thank you. Our next question, what steps will you take to ensure the county is prepared for emergencies and natural disasters?
Okay. I think that we have learned from COVID, the pandemic, and as a result of that, we have to take what we were successful at as we endured the pandemic and the shutting down of businesses and the closing of government services during that time period. We have to take the things that we excelled at, and then we also have to take the things that we didn't excel at. Like, for instance, one of the issues that I saw was trying to address, the testing of individuals who are in emergency services like the Sheriff's Department. One of the things that I had an issue with during the time period of the pandemic was we had officers that were still working in the courthouse that were not giving rapid tests. It took a while for them to be able to get rapid tests. And so they had the test that you take and you didn't find out your test results till later on. I think that we collectively, with public safety, we collectively with our utility entities, we collectively as a board put into place a strategic measure to address emergencies. I'm not down in anyone in terms of what happened during COVID. I know that it was something that was new to everyone. It was an experience that we probably in our lifetime will never experience again, hopefully. But if we do, we need to have a plan in place that addresses everything. We need to have something that's structured where our community will know what that plan is by actually posting that plan maybe on the website so that they will understand that we are prepared. There's nothing worse than having an emergency situation like that and not having the confidence as a citizen that your government is going to be able to handle things the right way. And so my answer to the question would be take in consideration the things that we did well in, take into consideration the things that we didn't do so well in, and we all collectively come up with a written plan that we can share with our community and probably get feedback from our community as it relates to whether or not, they think that there's something that was missed, because we can't act in a silo when it comes down to emergencies. We have to know that we may be sitting at the table and we may think that we have covered everything, but then you may have somebody that looks at it and says, well, you forgot about this or you forgot about that. So I think that community engagement and responsiveness to that plan is important as well.
Thank you. Our next question is also a two-part question. As new industries move into the area, creating job opportunities, what strategies will you employ to help inform our local residents about these jobs? Additionally, how will you collaborate with educational institutions and training programs to ensure that citizens have access to the necessary skills and training to fill those positions?
I'm laughing because I never expected that question. I'm glad you asked the question because that's one of the things that I have been pushing since Facebook came in our community. I think that is extremely important that we have a plan as it relates to workforce development among our youth in terms of getting these jobs. And just to clarify, to give you an example, I understand that tax incentives are a necessary, I'm not gonna say necessary evil, is a necessary entity in order for us to attract industry. And I know a lot of people don't like to hear that, Facebook or any of these multi-million dollar, billion-dollar companies are gonna get a tax break. But that's necessary to draw them in. What I would like to have is a balance where these industries that come in will also set aside some money strictly for workforce development and have that workforce development come in, that they get to choose the people in the local area. To give you an example, and I'm not a politician, so I just say what it is. Rivian. I think Rivian did an amazing job in setting up programs for young people to apply for jobs there, where they trained them through Piedmont Technical College and then continued their training in, I believe it's Indiana. I think it was amazing for them to do that. And I wish that more industry would take that into consideration, because when it was announced that they were doing this, people didn't even know. I spread the word as much as I could. And I went out in the community and I talked to young people and I said, this opportunity is life changing for you. I had some young people tell me that they didn't think that they had the education, they didn't think that they had the experience to do it, but I still made them do it. And one of the young men that I pushed to do that, I think that he was leaving, if he didn't leave last week, he's leaving next week to continue his training. He's already finished the training here. And when I tell you, this is a young man that on his best day made about $10 to $12 an hour. And now he's about to make some money that can change not only his life, but also help his mother as she goes through the things that she goes through. And I think that that's what we do. That collaboration has to be from the standpoint of economic development, from the education facilities, and it also has to incorporate people that really, really want the best for our young people and want our young people to get the training and bring those skills back home. So that's what I want to do.
Thank you. Our next question, how will you ensure that residents are engaged in the decision-making process and have their voices heard?
Okay, so today I started canvassing. We've been canvassing a little bit, but today I started really canvassing. And it was amazing to me to talk to so many people who knew nothing about what was going on in the county. And I think that we have to do a better job. I say that, but at the same time, when I say we, I mean individuals that are in government and in those positions, as well as the individuals that are not, those citizens. I asked individuals today to join a partnership with me. And in that partnership, I said, as your District 3 Commissioner, what I plan on doing are these things here. What I can commit to you, because I don't like making promises, because I don't like breaking promises. What I commit to you is I'm going to do these things here. But that's not where it ends. On that same door hanger, I have a part where it says, this is your commitment. You have to be engaged. You have to volunteer. You have to put your time into this community, because just like a case in court, when you have a client, it should always be a team effort. There are things that I have to do to make sure that we reach our goals. There are things that you have to do to make sure that we reach our goals. And that's what I told people when I met them today. And the crazy thing is, and I mean this, I met Mr. Adams. And I told him, I said, I'm going to get your social security number, your blood type and everything, because you're going to commit to this. When I talked to Mr. Adams and I explained that partnership to him, I said, regardless of whether I win or lose, you still need to partner. And he told me, what can I do? And I said, well, we have a homeless shelter. We need volunteers there. He signed up right then and there. We called Pastorette right then and there, and he is going to make sure that he's involved in that homeless shelter. I think that that's how you get people to buy in. This gentleman was retired. He says he plays with his grandkids. I said, well, you play with your grandkids when they leave out of school. What are you doing in the morning? And he's committed to it. And he wasn't the only one that did that. The other thing is, we have low community engagement when it comes down to town halls and getting individuals involved in what's going on in decision making. I think as a Board of Commissioner member, we really probably need to look at, depending on what the measure is, referendums, where we can have individuals in our community actually have a voice on a ballot with the question that you want to ask. Because I don't think it's fair for us to have major decisions that are being made and have a town hall where only 5 to 10 people show up. And those 10 to 5 people that show up, 5 to 10 people that show up, are the voice of the 20,000 or 100,000 individuals we have in our community.
Thank you. And thank you for participating in Candidates on the Clock. At this time, can you close us out with any additional information about you, your campaign, and how can the voters get in touch with you?
My website is lindseyfordistrict3.com. I have Instagram, Lindsey for District 3. I also have Facebook, Lindsey for District 3. I have a telephone number, but I don't know it on the top of my head, but I do have an office number. My office is right here in Newton County. My office number is 404-373-3989. And I'm going to be real with you. I am not a politician. This is not comfortable for me. It is not comfortable for me to talk about the things that I've done over the years, and I've said that. I'm about people. I'm not about a lot of talk. I'm about action. And when you ask, what have I done over the years? I've done a lot. Things that I've done, I don't want to brag about because they're not issues that need to be bragged about. I don't want to toot my own horn because I don't need to, because that's not why I did what I did. Even in this campaign, I was campaigning and saw a lady that had an issue on Nextdoor app. And I stopped campaigning to find out what her issue was, the real deal. And I addressed it. And it took us 2 days to address it, but we did. We didn't do that for campaigning. We did that because that's what we do. And when I say we, I mean my team. My law firm is a group of amazing individuals. And they push me, they encourage me, and they remind me that the reason I do what I do is because it is the right thing to do. Despite anything around me, you got to focus. And my focus is action. 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 We have got to be tired of people talking about what they're going to do, selling us on these pipe dreams in election time. We got to choose people with action.
Thank you.